national top story tonight. A rich white girl in Oklahoma got a bad grade from a professor who was trans. We go now live to the scene of the religious persecution with our KY9 Action Adventure News trans issues correspondent, Karen Boomer.
That's right, Merkley. I'm here in liberal hellscape, Woklahoma, where a straight white cis girl is the most persecuted woman in America. What was her crime? Nothing more than expressing her beliefs in literal demons and implying that a professor is an agent of Satan. And that professor then gave her a 0. And I think if you were an agent of Satan and then someone said you were an agent of Satan, you probably would give them a 0. So I think, you know, evidence, there's a lot of evidence that's piling up out here.
Thanks, Karen. We go now to our trans intern, if they can take the gun out of their mouth long enough to tell. I'm sorry. I'm being told we have crabs. That's right. We have Racy, redhead, Randy Krabs. She really puts the I in Randy. We send her into harm's way for your benefit. She really puts the X in action adventure. Randy.
That's right, Merkley. I'm here in front of the pit entrance to the pit of hell, where I'm surrounded by DEI hires and climate scientists. And I'm gonna grab an egghead real quick. You, sir, vaccines cause autism, right?
Actually, I think you'll find autistic people study things a lot. One could say autism causes vaccines.
Checkmate, Obama.
Now, so, I'm sorry, Randy, we're talking about that Oklahoma girl. The Oklahoma girl?
The what? The dumbass bitch in Oklahoma?
We seem to have lost Randy. As we have a lot more to say about this issue with our continuing round-the-clock coverage. Check in now with social media. What are people saying on social media? That's the real news.
Show my work? Don't you mean show his work? Boys think he's strong, girl weak and pink.
OU's grad student senate is voting to see if they should ask for a formal apology from the university for the lack of protection of grad teaching assistants.
But then I decided to look at the paper myself, and I was like,
patched up with some fellow students here on campus that had nothing to talk about, or actually everything to talk about.
Point is the essay. Give my true opinion and get a 0 on an assignment. They have to lie about what I really believe.
Self-contradictory, had no actual citations.
She was just following the example of our great president. She didn't use facts, she went way off topic, and she didn't answer the initial question. A student shouldn't fail just because they did a completely different thing than the teacher instructed them to do. She claims I can't transition into a woman, but I can transition into a demon. What?
I'm sorry, TikTok, I'm going to have to cut you off. And no, I don't mean give you a free bottom surgery, because it's time for our first commercial break.
It's 68 degrees, and there's a 30% chance that it's already raining.
The real story here isn't whether this TA was a demon. Did she deserve the 0 on the paper? How bad was the paper? The real story is the girl's mother, because the ass doesn't fall far from the ass tree. Her mother was a councilwoman and ran for mayor in a city I used to live in, Springfield, Missouri. Her name is Christy Fulnecky, or if you ask January 6 Patriot News, Christy Fulnecky. She was a laughingstock for over a decade in Springfield, Missouri, notably woke liberal town. She's a Kmart brand knockoff Sarah Palin who ran for mayor despite the fact that she couldn't figure out how to pay her taxes or her business licenses or respond to emails or find the city budget on the city website. Couldn't find it. But she does know some things. She knows lawsuits, specifically losing lawsuits and pissing judges off and getting in arguments on Facebook and Twitter. And she takes a podium around with her around Springfield, set it up, and then do photo op. She's like a cartoon villain. When you look up her law office on Google Maps and go to Street View, the law office is in the background. In the foreground, that's right, a dumpster. Doesn't take an English professor to figure out that metaphor. She defended January 6th insurrectionists, and she's sued multiple times over COVID and mask restrictions, and when she's not suing and losing, she's also busy threatening to sue people erroneously on Twitter. Here's a real lawsuit she did. It's my favorite one of hers. So in Springfield, we have something called Cox Health. That's the hospital system. If you want cunt health, you have to go across state lines. But anyway, Cox Health, they're trying to get people to not come physically into the ER, right? So let's do more telehealth. So we'll give you cheap or free free telehealth or whatever. So there's a coupon code, COVID. Well, there was a lady who her son got sick. Guess why her son was sick? You guessed it, exposure to weird lake algae. They're like, go use the coupon code COVID. And she's like, I don't want COVID associated with my son's name. She took to Facebook and she was, conspiracy theories about if you use the coupon code, now it's in your son's file forever. Then gets in a Twitter fight with the Cox Health, not Con Health, CEO, and he's like saying shit back to her. I imagine the hospital CEO in Springfield was getting into a lot of Twitter fights during lockdown. That's what he did. So the lady who didn't want her son's name associated with the word COVID filed a lawsuit, and now his name very associated with this word. It's pretty cool. And when she tried to find a lawyer who would take up her frivolous lawsuit, who could she find? Who would do it other than, you guessed it, Fulnecky. The suit actually went to trial. They had to throw out a bunch of the things as just being completely baseless. For example, they sued for financial damages for making fun of the lady on Twitter. All right. But then the judge got real upset with her because she's annoying, stupid. So he held up a standard legal reference book and said, I quote, do you own this book? Just kind of like holding up a football to a ref and being like, have you ever seen a football before? So when the story broke that a student was suing over getting a bad grade, it was a surprise to no one in Springfield, Missouri, that it would be the daughter of Fulnecky. They're suing for, of course, religious discrimination, who no one cares about the First Amendment anymore, right? And City should know about that because when she was a city councilwoman, she had a little run-in about the First Amendment. See, they allowed an evangelical group into the public schools. What happens when you do that? That's right, the Satanists showed up. They wanted to start an after-school Satan club. So you can either allow equal access to any religion, or you can have no religion at all. So as soon as these schools open their shit up to let their evangelical pastors come with children, we have to let in the Satanists. But City, First Amendment advocate, January 6th defender, she came through for the Satanists. Oh, just kidding. She called them a hate group.
I'm definitely glad to have the homeschooling done. I hope her teacher's not listening to this.
Homeschooled. That's really interesting.
I mean, I could definitely tell the quality of the work has gone down because it's the quality of the parents' work. And so she's like, well, what am I supposed to do on this, certain thing, or what am I supposed to write? I'm like, just write whatever you want. And then I just took it.
Just write whatever you want.
So now we go to our regularly scheduled program. 2 English majors talk about butt shapes and dog dreams and writing papers, I guess.
Don't get me started.
I don't care how long it takes. I will keep you here all night.
We can't keep him past 4.
I will keep you here until 4.
Here's a fun fact about Oklahoma. The Secretary of Education just got shit canned by his fellow Republicans for being too crazy. Highlights include caught on a Zoom meeting with porn behind him.
What kind of porn?
I don't know.
Is the nastiest?
I don't know. Not to me. I don't. Whatever.
No.
He was having a meeting.
It is important to you.
Tonight, we are going in-depth on State Superintendent Ryan Walters. Walters says none of his devices were hooked up to a TV in his office, but says a cable box or a smart TV device was, and that gives him access to many channels, mostly the Fox News cable news channel.
Is the nastiest?
Tried to mandate Bibles in the classroom. His mandate was had very specific requirements for what kind of Bible.
He's trying to funnel money to his wife, sister-in-law or something?
No, he was trying to have the state buy a Trump Bible for every single classroom.
I remember that,
in
the Trump
Oklahoma.
Bible.
But anyway, he got run out of office by his fellow Republicans for being too crazy.
We might have a follow-up to that story later.
So this is the state of education in the state of Oklahoma.
What does Oklahoma rank in education?
50th.
How many states are there?
50.
Wait, did you learn that in Oklahoma?
No.
Could be wrong.
On that TV, 2 State Board of Education members say they saw fully nude women, and 2 other board members say Walters reacted to them removing the images from his TV immediately and then proceeded as if nothing happened. Pornogate.
Our mantra for the evening is remember, bullying is okay. So if we ever are like, no,
I agree with that.
We're going a little hard. Her whole point was bullying is okay.
Bring back public shaming. I think we should.
Public shaming.
I think we should bring back the stocks.
What's the difference between a stock and a pillory? Are those different?
Ooh, maybe one's feet, one's hands. Yeah, so pillory is the head and the hands.
What kind of bondage things are you Googling?
People have forgotten the word pillory.
Pillory. I would like to be pilloried sometime.
It's like a confession.
Pornogate.
What's your expertise in this field?
I went to college. I went to college in Oklahoma.
Oh, there it is. You went to a Christian college in Oklahoma.
I sure did. I survived a Christian college in Oklahoma.
I will survive. Even if I never eat a salad because they haven't been invented yet in Oklahoma, I will survive.
True story.
Off screen. I'm going to cut to this. Oh, that's the wrong way.
Jump scare.
As an English professor, what would I have given this?
I think you would have given negative points.
Really? I'm known as an easy grader. Quite often, like, my colleagues talk about grades and we do norming, the training we would do, we'd watch a speech together and we'd all grade it. I'm always on the more lenient end. And I feel like that's fine. What do I get out of being meaner? Just, I feel like kind of out of character for me. Like if you were to guess, you wouldn't think that.
Well, I think it's because you're dry sense of humor, and who's not going to give them a lot of like effusive praise.
Like the sandwich compliment.
You're doing a great job.
If you get 100, I'll be like, oh, that was great. I had nothing else to say. It was good.
Thumbs up.
I'm not going to go write a fucking poem about how beautiful it was or some shit. Maybe not the hardest, but one of the most difficult things is just, all right, I said 4 bad things. I have to be like, but the transitions were like, I guess fair. That was fine, you know?
So would you have failed this particular essay?
So I read the essay and I hadn't looked at the source. So this is a reaction paper. This is just like a read this thing. We're going to talk about it in class. And I think this was like a discussion board post essentially. Not knowing what the source was, not looking at the rubric or any of that, just reading the paper. I saw no citations. There are quotes that aren't cited, sort of citing the Bible, but it's like not really citing the Bible.
Plagiarism.
I can't tell you what the article is that it's reacting to. I can't tell you what it's about. So clearly you're not really reacting to it.
It's giving Facebook post.
And like, if you want to be like, I disagree with this. All right, we'll cite a thing in it and then disagree with it. That's fine. I probably wouldn't have given it a 0. You're not really doing the assignment and you're not really reacting to the subject or formatting or citing. I would probably give it like 10 out of 25.
That's nice.
If I got the sense that you actually read something,
it's a failing grade, but you still get some point.
So since writing that, I'd give it a 10 out of 25. I have now read the source article based on seeing what she wrote. What do you think this article is about?
How trans people are evil.
Don't bully trans kids. What it's actually about is like how kids are perceived in terms of like gender typicality, how it makes them popular or unpopular. Tomboys versus like girly girls. And then like bro jock dude versus like nerd who's small and weak but wins physics championships. You know, it seems to me to be like about like cisgendered people. It's not even about trans things.
So benign too.
Right. I guess trans is part of that because they're talking about like rate this person on how gender typical they are. Study was done with middle schoolers. And they gave them a list of classmates. And they're like, rank these classmates.
Who was the IRB reviewer on that?
For the babies, it was IRB, Insurance Regulatory.
Institutional Review Board. When you want to do experimental research, you have to send them your research design so that people aren't out here doing unethical ass shit. Like, for example, the Tuskegee Institute.
Let's give them syphilis and see what happens and not tell them.
Right. You can't do that.
Here is a list of some of the kids in your school. We know that some of them are popular and some of them are not popular. Please circle the number that shows how popular each kid is. And they rated each student in their grade from 1, not at all popular, to 4, very popular. They and also had them rate these fellow students on how gender typical they seemed.
I can leg press 400 pounds.
But just based on if you read her thing, you're like, this is a thing about how we shouldn't bully trans kids. And she's like, maybe we should bully trans kids.
What's the title of this study? This student saw the title, maybe read the abstract, and then was like triggered by it.
Yeah, I think because it's clear she's not reacting to like the results in the discussion, and I have stuff to talk about with that.
Kind of like how the Trump administration is banning like research with just certain words in the title that doesn't actually have anything to do with it.
Photos seem to be flagged for removal simply because their file included the word gay, including service members with that last name and an image of the B-29 aircraft Enola Gay.
Now kids won't know about the Enola Gay, they won't know about transport planes, and they'll never hear about the heroic service of Captain Grinder McScissory.
The current study examines whether being high in gender typicality, so that probably triggers her to think trans or non-trans. Whether being low in it is associated with rejection/teasing, whether teasing due to low gender typicality mediates the association with negative mental health.
This girl is defending her right to bully people.
Oh, yeah. So you haven't read her essay, really?
Oh, boy. Ass shit.
You know, I think God, you know.
It's weird how God has a penis. The
Your reaction?
brain rot is so real.
Brain rot.
As a kid who grew up in a conservative church, going to Sunday school, church 3 times a week, the gender stuff wasn't a big deal.
Like trans and...
Right.
Because it was just assumed that they should be...
I didn't even know trans people existed. That was outside of the...
What did they say about, like, gay people?
I don't know that I knew gay people existed until I was probably in middle school.
Middle school.
Like, truly. Love the sin, hate the sinner is what they would have said. As a kid who was raised probably very similarly to how this girl was raised, this is something I probably would have written for, like, a Sunday school assignment as, like, an 11-year-old. This is the work of a child.
She's a junior.
I look forward to interviewing these people and being their manager in a few years.
So there is 2 things in there that I feel like she's reacting to that I go, okay, I guess. Which is like, okay, she thinks it's about trans and it's not. But then she talks about like stereotypes. She's objecting to the use of stereotype, that like being a girly girl, that's a stereotype of girls. Like I disagree. I was like, she doesn't know what the word stereotype means.
Yep.
And she's in a 300 level psychology class.
Yep.
And doesn't know what that means yet.
The iPad kids are growing up.
The article discussed peers using teasing as a way to enforce gender norms. I do not necessarily see this as a problem. So like bullying,
it's fine.
The weird kid, the trans kid, the tomboy girl, the nerdy kids, that's fine.
The musical theater boy.
Right. Bullying is okay, if I agree with the bullies, she said. Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts. The same goes for men. God created men in the image of his courage and strength, and he created women in the image of his beauty. And I wrote, so God
is trans.
God has big titties.
God's non-binary.
Not trans, non-binary, hermaphroditic.
God exists outside of the gender binary, but also he has a penis.
And big titties. Because women are created in the image of his beauty. How
small titties can be beautiful. Yep.
How thick are his thighs? What's his butt like?
Well,
these are the questions I need from Sunday school.
Depends on what decade you're in, because different decades, different butt shapes.
You can talk about this for a long time.
I could do a TED talk about this.
So, do you want to do your TED talk about butt shapes?
Don't get me started.
I can get the green screen out. I'll get you a cigarette too.
Don Schweitzer has a huge ass? Who would write that? Who wouldn't write that?
It is frustrating to me when I read articles like this. It's a 20-page journal article about a study, which half of it's about like methodology and charts and graphs and like p-values and shit. But she's like, it frustrates me when I read articles like this. How many articles like this are you reading? This is the kind of thing you say when your uncle posts a stupid thing from patriotdump.gov. So many people trying to conform to the same mundane opinion so they do not step on other people's toes. I think that is cowardly and an insincere way to live. So other people disagreeing with you is mundane and cowardly. And like, they all have this opinion because they don't want to step on people's toes. Everyone also hates trans people, but they're too cowardly to say it. And she's just very brave. Am I reading that right? Yeah, we all agree they're gross and weird, but only I'm brave enough to bully them.
I'll bully you.
It is important to use freedom of speech. It's been given in this country, and I personally believe that eliminating gender in our society would be detrimental as it pulls us farther from God's original plan for humans. Now, I wrote citation needed. What's God's plan for humans?
Yeah, what's the chapter and verse that we're citing for that?
Also,
the First Amendment? What does that have to do with it?
So her classmates and their discussion posts aren't using their First Amendment right to express their views because they hate trans people too, but they're afraid they're gonna get their toes stepped. They're gonna step on toes.
That's not what the First Amendment is.
What is the First Amendment? It's our right to freeze peaches in the winter. Is that right? Technically, I think.
Move into the country.
I have an originalist approach to that, and I think that's what they meant, was freezing peaches. I personally believe that eliminating gender in our society would be detrimental. What? Can you give me an Oklahoma Christian girl's perspective?
Ass shit. There's gender neutral bathrooms. There's no men's and women's sports. Everyone's in the same league together.
No, but we have women's sports. We just let trans women compete in them. That's different than not having
It
gender
is different, but this is a slippery slope argument that they're making.
Right, but isn't it that the liberals are like, there's 14 genders, and they're like, there's only 2 genders. But now we're saying we're getting rid of gender? That there's no gender?
You're trying to think they have any kind of intellectual continuity between beliefs. It doesn't make sense. Oh, Woody's dreaming.
Woody's dreaming over there.
What do you think he's dreaming about?
That big pussy he saw earlier. Meow. It is perfectly normal for kids to follow gender stereotypes because that is how God made us. The reason so many girls want to feel womanly, I underlined, want to feel. Not that they do, but they want to.
What does it mean?
The reason so many girls want to feel womanly and care for others in a motherly way is not because they feel pressured to fit into social norms, it's because God created and chose them to. So we're not bullying anyone to fit into any gender stereotypes. God made them in that stereotype. So then when there are people who don't fit the stereotype, it's because God made them to not fit in the stereotype. No, there's no pressure to conform because you were made to conform. So there is no pressure.
Well, God created the stereotypes.
In Genesis, God says that it is not good for man to be alone, so he created a helper for man.
Captain Grinder McScissory.
Which is a woman. Many people assume the word helper in this context to be condescending and offensive to women. However, the original word in Hebrew is...
I don't fucking know Hebrew.
I've heard that this has been going around in like Christian TikTok or whatever. This isn't an original thought. And it directly translates to helper, equal to. Additionally, God describes himself in the Bible using Ezer Kenegdo or helper, and he describes his Holy Spirit as our helper as well. It's saying that woman is equal to man and that we're equal to God.
That seems heretical.
I wrote this. So in one place, the Hebrew translation is like, well, but women are like a helper, but equal. Are there no other counterpoints elsewhere in the Bible where it like directly says men are above women? I'm asking.
Everywhere.
I think so.
All over. Paul, everything Paul wrote. Paul.
No, but this one place, the connotation is equal to.
Don't get me started. Paul hated women. The Apostle Paul hated women.
Oh, the Apostle. Who do you think his favorite emperor was?
I don't fucking know Hebrew.
Well, I can find this one passage where this one thing, the translation is equal to. And it's like, yeah, but over here it says what?
Do you know what we called those? As I was like deconstructing.
Cherry picking from the buffet line?
You use this one phrase in the Bible and you're going to pull it out of wherever it originally lived in the context. And then you use it and you're like, well, the Bible says this. We call those clobber passages.
Clobber. The old clob.
You use these passages to just like whack people over the head with and make them feel terrible and tell them they're going to hell.
It reminds me of Bible math, Bible numerology, which is such bullshit. Do all this very complicated math and like, well, you take every Hebrew letter and give it a number value, and if you do this and blah, 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 and if you take this chapter and take the letters from here and do this division, you end up with pi. Okay, you could have done a bajillion different why that one? And it's like, but also there's a part in the Bible where it's describing the shape and the size of some like clay vessel. And it's like, well, you can use, it gives the circumference and the radius. You can get pi from that, where it's talking about the shape of a circle and it gets it wrong. It's like, so when it's talking about...
I've known about pi for...
Right. Blah, blah, blah. God does not view women as less significant than men. And I just turn to you.
It's weird how everyone believes in a God that agrees with them on everything.
Isn't that quite a coincidence?
Isn't that weird?
Isn't that crazy?
It's super weird.
So whatever I feel, I can be like, I think God made me feel this way.
Well, God absolutely did make me feel this way.
I'm pretty sure God made me feel this way.
Yeah. What God believes about what a woman is and what the Bible believes about, those could be entirely different things. Once I learned about the Council of Nicaea.
Which parts of the Bible you want to keep?
Right. Which
we can just throw some away?
That's literally what I was taught in Sunday school. It's like God wrote the Bible. And as an 8-year-old, I was like, oh, God is writing it down.
Can you imagine if God wrote a book? We could just read a book God wrote? That's insane. That's so crazy. Most of them haven't read it. It's like when your friend's wife writes a book and you're like, do I have to read that? And then what if I run into her at a party? I'd be like, oh yeah, I read that. I'm not so worried about running into God at a party. So I do not think men and women are pressured to be more masculine or feminine. I think that's just so clearly wrong. Like, you're telling me tomboys don't feel pressured to be more feminine? Like, that, saying nothing of what's right or wrong, you don't think that pressure exists? What? Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders. But she said we should have no gender. So she doesn't think there's two genders.
She doesn't know what she thinks.
Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders. Isn't two multiple? And everyone should be whatever they want is demonic and severely harms American youth. I do not want kids to be teased or bullied in school. However, pushing the lie that everyone has their own truth and everyone can do whatever they want and be whoever they want is not biblical.
But just be courageous in figuring out who you are. And when you find out who you are and why you're here on the planet,
reading articles such as this one encouraged me one day to raise my children, knowing that they have a heavenly Father who loves them and cherishes them deeply.
God has a penis.
My prayer for the world, and specifically for American society and youth, this is an essay we're writing for college, is that they would not believe the lies being spread from Satan that make them believe they are better off as another gender than what God made them.
You can argue that Satan isn't really biblical. Like Satan is like
what?
Like this idea, this like dichotomy of God's the hero, Satan's the bad guy.
They're more like gay lovers.
They're like, you know, like in equilibrium, and that's not at all. And like if you go back to the translation,
I'm cutting all of this, by the way.
Oh, look at his hair is so where she licked him.
Your sister was licking your face. Is that in the Bible anywhere? When the sister licks, this is the assignment. Would you like to read the assignment?
Oh yeah, I would.
Do you think Woody is a gender typical male? Since a lot of blonde hair on a man, I think men are supposed to.
Men can't be blonde?
I don't think so.
What about Vikings?
They're pagans. They don't count.
Fascinating. Is there a clear link back to the assigned article?
No.
No. That's an immediate
zero.
-10 of the article rather than a summary of the article. It does neither of those
We're not
things.
even like getting close enough to be like, oh, it's not a summary. That's something you put in there because people just like
say this article was about.
It said this and it was about that, and I thought that was interesting. You're not reacting to it. You're just that's regurgitation. Yeah, we haven't gotten to regurgitation yet.
No,
so
and then
that's a 0.
And then the last one is clarity of writing, or the
Can you read it? 5 out of 5. It depends on how you grade that.
Seems like very dependent on what level of class this is.
It's a 300 level class.
I'm going to be real charitable and give her 5. Like those two things are so linked. They both of those things assume that you've read the article, and she didn't.
And essentially, this is just like how to give credit for
reading comprehension.
Things.
And I'm going to give her the 5 for clarity.
I would have given her a 4 on that. 4 out of 5. You're saying a 5 out of 25 would be appropriate. I'm saying I would have given it a 4. Okay, maybe you have the tiniest. You need 4 bonus points somewhere else. But I can also say like strict graders, and especially if they want to be like, you clearly didn't read this. So they're suing for religious discrimination. They like escalated this and had another. Like the supervisor, because the teacher in this is a TA, not a full professor. They have since deleted or blocked whatever their Instagram. It's hidden. But the girl, her Instagram's just out there. So who's getting bullied right now? They had the supervising professor look at it, and they just agreed and said 0 is appropriate based on this rubric. I certainly have had colleagues who would give a 0 for this. This is not a crazy thing to get a 0 for that. And I'm saying, like, I would have given her 4 points. What are we talking about? 0.09% in your final grade.
Post.
It's a discussion board.
We're suing over a discussion board post.
Well, when your mom's a lawyer, it's easy to sue. We'll talk about that. So the girl is from Nixa, Missouri, hometown of Jason Bourne. One of the Bourne movies, he discovers in the files where he's from. Nixa, it's a little burb outside. And so in the theater in Springfield, Missouri, when they like, where's Jason Bourne from? And the writers, the producers just put a pin in a map somewhere random, but it was like, fucking, he's from Nixa? Does he go mudding on the weekends?
He's got a cheek full of
dipping and driving in the mud, and that's where Jason Bourne's from. Okay.
Drinking Bud Heavies.
Oh, yeah. Which, by the way, Bush Light.
Their daddies are drinking Bud Heavy.
College game day. You know when like we have Monday Night Football and they have like 6 dudes at a desk spot up, and then like a ton of college students are behind them. They hold weird signs. Some dude held up a sign. I need Bush Light money with his Venmo on it. Guess how much money got sent to his Venmo?
$30K. $1.1 million.
then they need donated to charity. I just want to say, if I ever get some weird thing where suddenly people are like, yeah, we'll send you, and everyone's like, I'll donate to charity. I won't. I'm keeping that money. Fuck you. I'll be nice. But I'm keeping that money. TA's name is Mel Curth, which is not an anagram for cruel math, but almost. University removed Mel Curth, the TA, from the class, but on administrative leave, like a cop who does
getting
whatever,
paid?
Getting paid still. So they just don't have to teach the class for the rest of the semester, and the professor has to teach it now. So
Good for you, Mel.
I don't. Everyone's like, they removed the teacher, and the TA, the trained TA is in trouble, and it's like, I'm sure it's been a giant headache, but
Get out of Oklahoma.
Get out. Yeah.
Get out of Oklahoma.
Since most of the news covering this has just been talking about this fucking blonde girl's thoughts and all her other things, I thought we should cover the essay. The scholarly article, which is not about trans rights and don't bully the trans kids, it's about gender typicality, which is things like a boy who plays football and is tall and strong is gender typical, while a small, weak, skinny physics state champion is maybe a little less gender typical.
No quick man to me.
Oh, okay.
Nard dog.
Links between gender typical and being popular were not simply a reflection of gender typical children being liked more, consistent with Egan and Perry 2001. Hypothetical popular children were described as gender typical, but not necessarily pro-social. For example, boys were described as having a temper.
Hell yeah. Yeah, they do.
Okay. When you're saying describe a popular kid, when they describe a boy...
Mean?
It doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, someone.
This person's well liked.
They're not likable. They can
popular
be
and well liked are not the same thing.
This supports the peer popularity literature that has consistently shown that being popular is not synonymous with being well liked or having positive traits.
Shit's intuitive as fuck, but
Mean Girls. We could cite sources for Mean Girls. Adler and Adler 98.
You're like really pretty. Thank you. So you agree? What? You think you're really pretty? Oh.
Gender typicality was more closely linked with popularity for boys than for girls. For example, rejected or teased boys were more likely to be described with atypical traits than rejected or teased girls.
This is patriarchy.
This is patriarchy. Explain.
This is the male loneliness epidemic right here.
I think I wrote that.
Because
here, actually, in bold is what I wrote.
Lesing out is cooler than J.O. buddies.
And here it is in graph form.
It's because what's acceptably male is a much narrower set of things than what's acceptably female. Extracurriculars in school. You have sports and you have music or theater. Girls can do any of those. Mm-hmm. When boys are in musical theater, they're like, ooh, that's weird. So he's gay. He's got to be queer.
What's different there is that, like, sports, which used to be a boy thing.
Girls
can do that now.
Girls can do sports.
Interesting. This asymmetry also may partially reflect changing gender norms for girls. Specifically, the stereotypes about girls' abilities to be athletic and independent may be changing. For example, only 1 in 27 high school girls played sports prior to Title IX. It is close to half of girls now. So maybe this tennis playing girl might have read that and had something to say about how, like, gender typicality affects her. And like, oh, actually, I get to be in sports and that is okay and blah, blah, blah. Someone could have responded to that maybe.
Yep.
It's almost like what is gender typical changes on time scales that are shorter than, like, Bible conventions to decide which books of the Bible.
And it's almost like gender is a social construct.
I don't think
that has nothing to do.
That sounds like the devil. Anxiety, self-esteem, and typicality positively predicted body image for boys. They're not anxious. They have high self-esteem. They're gender typical. They're like, yeah, I'm pretty hot. In girls, it's not just not a relationship. It's inverse.
Yep.
Explain.
Shit's intuitive as fuck. This is Mean Girls.
What does that mean?
The paper.
I think I wrote that.
Yeah. It's so intuitive. If you think about the movie Mean Girls.
Apparently there's a lot of things that can be wrong on your body.
My hairline is so weird.
My pores are huge.
My nail beds suck.
They were a mess. Disordered eating. So rigid about their wardrobe that they had, like, meltdowns. And these were the super, super popular girls.
So what is it about being popular that makes the popular girls have even worse body image? This is what you're supposed to be writing about.
Yeah.
In your response.
I'm doing this girl's homework for her. You have to continue to enforce those gender roles and stereotypes.
If you're popular, it's because you understood the rules of the game to be popular, and then you're rising in the popularity, but now you're like extra aware
and you have to maintain
rules
it.
And
you've gotten there, and now you have to keep it up.
You're anxious as fuck, and you have a low body image.
I really want to lose 3 pounds.
Oh my God, what are you talking about?
You're so skinny. Shut up.
And like for girls, you're keeping up with things like beauty trends and fashion trends that are constantly evolving and changing.
Are you saying that bros
in a way
that's
it's different?
We all just get the same haircut, and we all wear cargo shorts, and it's good, pretty cool.
Oh, cargo shorts!
Remember cargo shorts?
Oh.
So the way of saying what you just said, psychology journal article speak, girls who were rated as more typical and popular by their peers held more negative body image and had more anxiety than girls who were rated as less typical and less popular. Rancor and Prinstein 2010. They're telling us not to bully the trans kids. I thought, no, that's not
nothing to do with
all this is about. Would you like to read a comment from Yahoo News?
I don't fucking know Hebrew. I am an OU grad and my daughter is an OU grad. When my son took a tour there before starting college, all over the north and south ovals, there were signs pushing LGBTQ plus and liberal indoctrination. It used to be that all thoughts and viewpoints were welcome. That is not the case today. Classes like that should teach critical thinking from a neutral standpoint, not just if it agrees with the agenda you are trying to force feed. There are other great options in Oklahoma. Don't waste your dollar sign.
What are the other great options in Oklahoma? You went to a different college in Oklahoma.
I did.
Is that a great option, do you think?
No comment.
No comment.
I turned out fine.
How much therapy did we have to pay for?
I would have needed that anyway.
What do you think about, it used to be that all thoughts and viewpoints were welcome, but you can't have your LGBT plus signs?
Right.
So he is envisioning what? A place where be normal, be regular, be standard, be a white Christian, don't be gay. Why do we gotta think about gays? And if we're like, hey, maybe it's okay to be gay. Well, that's liberal indoctrination. We can't have that. So this became a story because Turning Point USA, Oklahoma chapter, made it a thing. Turning Point USA maintains a professor watch list. So we can bully professors if they say liberal things. Again, we just want all viewpoints welcome and critical thinking. Also, we're gonna bully trans professors comment, which
we're missing some punctuation.
Yeah. So this is just all trans professors. It's also not a professor, it's a TA. So anyway, remember, bullying is okay because now we're going to talk about the student's mother, whose name is Christy Fulnecky. She was a Springfield, Missouri councilwoman. Her law office is like 2 miles from where I lived, right between the world's largest fork by mass and a Trail of Tears landmark. And then right on Google Maps, right next to the Trail of Tears monument, there was a pin for something called Puddle of Tears, which was just someone's house, but it was like they're selling clothes out of it or something. But it was like, is this a joke? I don't know.
Puddle of Tears might need bullied.
I really, that might be bullying. So I really like World's Largest Fork by mass. It's the heaviest one, not the big. Oh, okay. 10 things to know about Christy Fulnecky. I would like you to just read this, Tom.
Christy Fulnecky's 2 years on the council have been plagued with infighting, difficulty, and controversy, to blaming city staff for her failure to read emails that were addressed to her. She has ruffled feathers all across Springfield. So much has been written about the issues surrounding her time on council that it has become difficult to keep it all straight. Here is a list of the top 10 things to know about mayoral candidate Christy Fulnecky.
After being a joke of a councilwoman who's had so many things, it's difficult to keep them all straight. She's going to run for mayor now. You want to count down?
Vote in your local elections, people. It's so important.
Top 10 things.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A few of them probably didn't make the cut, you know.
We're starting off hot.
What is the hot gossip? Tell me everything.
Number 1, she was ineligible to run for her council seat. She was not eligible to take office.
But she did.
But she did anyway.
Mm-hmm. She hadn't paid for her business license in Springfield for 7 years. Also, unrelated to that, she owed like $90,000 in back taxes to the IRS.
Number 2, she complains about costs to the city that her own decisions created.
After it came out that she was ineligible, she hired a lawyer. They then had to hire outside counsel against her, and it ended up costing the city a bunch of money. But then she would use that as evidence that they were against her because, like, they spent $90,000 trying to get rid of me. I was like, no, it was once you hired outside counsel, they then had to hire outside counsel, and then it became this big fucking thing. And then I listened to multiple episodes of her podcast, which is, her podcast is like a 0 out of 25 in terms of podcasts. It sounds like she just talked into her phone. It's like, we didn't even bother getting a microphone. That's how bad it is.
And become comfortable with your imperfection. And that doesn't mean to... sorry, somebody texted me in the middle of that. That doesn't mean to give up and be average. Digressing a little bit, but one of my daughters said, well, you've been listening to Rio so much and you look like the bird with this thing on. So I think I need to take it off because I look like a bird. So just hold on for a second.
Bird law in this country, it's not governed by reason.
We need to regulate podcasts.
Oh my God. I know way too much about this lady.
Clearly.
She reminds me of Jenna's mom on 30 Rock.
Oh, yeah.
You must have me confused with someone else. I have never been to Chicago. I sexually assaulted Scottie Pippen in 1997.
Number 3, she tried to bully a citizen by threatening legal action.
You know when, like, somebody on YouTube or Facebook comments is like, my uncle's a lawyer and I'm going to sue you for libel because blah, blah, blah.
I honestly don't mind pages that disagree with me.
Pages.
Semicolon.
Pages that disagree with me.
She used a semicolon.
Yeah.
Incorrectly, I would say. I honestly don't mind pages that disagree with me. Just those that pose as me and create a likelihood of confusion, as you did with your newsleader comments pretending to be me. Trademark. Need your name and where I can serve process. Do you have an attorney? Good luck with that. You're a public figure, a politician, and none of that applies to you. Are you just spouting legal jargon now?
Okay, well, filibuster.
Who do you feel was correct in that exchange?
The anonymous person. Trademark and copyright infringement.
No.
For
like, if we're defamation, maybe, but like trademark is not at all. No, that's so wrong. This is a practicing lawyer.
She threatened the chief of police on Facebook. She lied about the city's budget. She said the budget was not available. What? And as mayor, she would make sure it got published online for the sake of transparency.
That's right.
Except the budget is online and the detail available is astounding. Anyone can look at the overview and see exactly what is being spent. Cleverly disguised as public information, she has been unable to locate this resource after a full 2 years in office.
Well, why don't they have this transparency?
Very well written, actually, by whoever wrote this. The mayor had to publicly address her lies about city staff. She vowed to get rid of liberals who work for the city in Springfield, Missouri.
How many liberals are working for Springfield, Missouri? The city government.
She claimed a project that had been in development for months was a ploy to make her look bad. Fulnecky has long been an enemy of...
grammar.
No, she's been an enemy of the poor. Very biblical, by the way. Very biblical.
There's a lot of people like that in the Bible.
Jesus famously hated poor people. One of her favorite ideas is that panhandlers should be arrested for holding signs or speech that makes people uncomfortable.
They don't have a right to free speeches out here.
So not only does her daughter not know what the First Amendment is,
but hey,
lawyer.
January 6th, people, she's got your back.
The city of Springfield announced a pilot program designed to help panhandlers get work. Fulnecky was furious and said it was done just to make her look bad.
Even though the program had been around
before her.
Before the timeline makes no
knew who
sense
she
for
was.
it to be a thing to make fun of her.
Failed to pay taxes and fees correctly at the city, state, and federal level.
Oops.
Honestly, lock her up.
Remember, bullying. Okay.
You remember what took down
Capone?
Capone. Tax fraud.
Syphilis. What about John Gotti? Do you know where John Gotti ended up in prison? Springfield, Missouri Federal Prison, which is between where I lived and her law office.
Neat.
When I saw it on the map, I was like, oh, is that right next to the federal prison?
I mean, that makes sense where a law
World's largest
office would
fork
be.
by mass is pretty close to where John Gotti ended up. So, FYI, fun fact.
It's a place that exists. Number 10, the local newspaper had to correct her publicly.
Yeah, she said she raised $100,000 for her campaign, but was off by $37,000.
So close. There's like a stereotype about lawyers. So you go to law school because there's no math.
The limit does not exist.
So anyway, she has a podcast.
Masked versus unmasked.
Are you sure that's recording?
So
just
edit that out.
I've
lost my train of thought.
You'll be surprised to learn that she has a bit of a persecution complex.
I'm shocked.
And I can see clearly you know nothing about the law. It seems like you have a tenuous grasp on the English language in general.
Okay, well,
there's a lot of stuff about how the city council hates her. And like, so why do they hate her? What do you think?
She wore lipstick.
No.
She was a mom.
Even though they're a bunch of conservatives and women and moms, why do they not like her?
They're demonic. She's demonic.
They're a Mean Girls clique.
Oh, she said?
I don't know that she said Mean Girls specifically, but it's just like it's a clique. And they didn't like her because she's an independent thinker.
Who believes all the same things that they do.
Right. I was like, I don't think that makes any sense.
That's the...
but it's all a clique.
That's the deep state argument.
It's all the in-group. They're all a clique. They're all buddy-buddy with each other.
That's the deep state argument.
It's the Springfield, Missouri deep state.
I mean, Biden, I keep saying Biden needs to... Oh, look, the sun's going down in the video. Biden totally needs to use some kind of self-tanner or something.
So I listened to her podcast. It was the first one after the 2020 election when Biden beat Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried very hard not to talk about the election. They're like, well, I don't know. Even though it's a political podcast, like, we can't talk about it. But then she brought up a bunch of stuff about how, like, dead people have been voting and, like, ballots getting dumped and all these conspiracies. And she said, Rudy Giuliani, because remember Rudy was like, oh, I'm going to take care of the Democrats rigged it in Pennsylvania. And then he went and stood outside of Four Seasons Lawnscaping. Is that what it was? Landscaping? Is lawnscaping a word?
It is now.
Anyway, he was in charge of that. So she's very into those conspiracy theories. She said Rudy Giuliani is one of her favorite people. Why don't we make people show ID and prove they're alive and do all the stuff where they can vote? And there's restrictions when you run for office.
Hang on.
All these restrictions when you run for office. It's like, yeah, you should know because you didn't fit the ball and we're ineligible to take office. And it was a whole big thing.
She wants people who are showing up to vote to prove that they're alive.
Mail-in ballots, I guess. But they're saying all the dead people are voting with no evidence.
If it's lower than the flu, why do we have to wear a mask? Because people are still going to catch flu.
It's more contagious than the flu.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, the one thing that I will say is that we love going to concerts. We couldn't go. We can't go to Dave Matthews because they canceled the whole... I bought the tickets the night before. I think I mentioned that on YouTube last week. Yeah. I just think that he needs to stay out of the political arena. And, I mean, he just feels like he has to say something.
That's not going to happen.
She did, though. I heard her. They were talking about Halloween because they were trying to talk about anything else. And she talked about the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Is it demonic?
No, she's a fan. And she dressed up as...
Damn it, Janet.
Yeah, she's talking about how she used to dress up as somebody from Rocky Horror. I was like, that's fine. That's clearly demonic.
The
Rocky
church
Horror?
I grew up in would never.
That's Satan. And also she talked about dressing up as Elvira, but only for like adult parties.
See,
adult
and this
parties.
Is why everything they say they believe, they go on and contradict in other ways.
Why? I can't name any examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about her mentor, Rush Limbaugh. There's a whole episode because she cried when she found out he died. So she recorded a whole episode about Rush.
In my family group chat, we had a little celebration.
She claimed that she was a liberal in high school until Rush Limbaugh made her a conservative. Rush Limbaugh, by the way. Here's some things about Rush Limbaugh, who she cried when she found out he died. He played a song on the air, Barack the Magic. He said Obama created the Great Recession as payback for white people about racism. The recession, which began approximately a year before he took office, said if Obamacare passed, he would leave the country.
I wish he had.
He didn't do that. He popularized the term feminazi. That was him. He criticized liberal meteorologists for the climate change hoax stuff when they were covering Hurricane Irma.
And these are the same people who say facts don't care about your feelings.
And then later, Hurricane Irma forced him to flee his Florida home.
Oh, that's terrible.
I don't know. Here's a quote from Rush Limbaugh. If there is consent on both, or all three, or all four, or however many people are involved in the sex act, it's perfectly fine, whatever it is. But if the left ever senses and smells that there's no consent in part of the equation, then here come the rape police. That's a quote. That's Rush Limbaugh, her idol. She called a mentor, but I feel like mentor is a two-way street, and I don't think he knew who the fuck you were, so I don't think he counts as a mentor. Remember, bullying is okay.
Rush Limbaugh was not bullied enough.
A guy was drunk and he passed out with a rum bottle and went 7 miles and almost went over a dam. So, and make sure you don't drink and go.
Was he like floating with her tube?
With the bottle. He was floating in a canoe and he passed out.
Hey man, it's America.
I know. But he had a mask on.
There's a second allegation against her is that she illegally recorded part of a closed meeting in November. Other council members held a meeting to discuss her business license issue. Imagine being on the city council and being like, oh, this fucking bitch got elected who like has a business in town and has never gotten a license for her business. Like, can we like sort this out? And then she immediately gets a lawyer, 2 lawyers actually, and then is recording meetings that are behind closed door and like trying to get gotcha shit on them.
Well, I have a hunch that this girl is doing a bit and she's not as dumb as this essay makes her out to be.
Explain.
She apparently is in one of the top sororities at OU, which requires a fairly high GPA. And so you have to maintain, and she's a junior, so she's maintained a high GPA. But knowing who her mother is, how she's spent the last 5 years of her life
defending insurrection. Oh, I didn't talk about she sued the Springfield public schools about, of course. What do you think?
Critical race theory, COVID.
Trying to force them to have a everyday in-person school board was like, we're trying our best. What do you like? You think
what do you want
fucking Springfield, Missouri public schools is like woke? We're so woke.
Knowing that the TA was trans, this girl is trying to be the next Erica Kirk, the next Candace Owens,
Riley Gaines.
This is a casting call.
Failed by a
This
trans.
is an audition for her
Tied with a trans.
to end up on as a Fox
Dancing
News.
with the Stars.
Samantha, thanks for being with us here today.
I was told to give my opinion on gender stereotypes and gender norms, so that's what I did.
Now let's bring in Teacher Freedom Alliance CEO Ryan Walters.
Is the nastiest, biggest lie ever lodged at an official in Oklahoma.
Pornogate.
It is absurd, but Trace, it shows you the anti-Christian bias.
Yeah, so pillory is the head and the hands.
What kind of bondage things are you Googling?
Even in red states.
Pornogate.
Here's Strong Thurman. How do you think I'm doing so far with homeschooling?
Good. What do you mean?
Do you feel like I'm losing my mind?
Yes.
We've watched a lot of movies, right?
Yeah. I don't really watch all of them, but...
And we're gonna do TikTok videos. Why? So this is how you put it on. It feels like it's kind of messed up right here. I don't know, maybe it's backwards. Remember that you're human. So when you're doing a Zoom meeting, make sure that you have, that you look okay from the waist up, and make sure you have pants on. And when you stand up, that you're not embarrassed. I have, okay, well don't turn it, leave it horizontal, but can you see what I have on? So I have on yoga pants. I have my Michael Kors flip-flop shoes, but so that's kind of how you should dress.
Homeschooled. Oh, that's a fun way to take jobs from my union.
Breaking news. If you're still here watching, you get extra credit, bonus credit. Woody is jumping on the piano right now. So I've been stalking her YouTube a little bit, doing research. And when COVID lockdown started, they started filming a bunch of stuff, like some episodes of her podcast. You've probably seen clips of it by now. But there's one I'm not gonna show you because it's like videos of the kids and I don't wanna do that, even though she had no problem putting it out there. And I could do it, but I'm just not going to. They show each kid and they're like, here's little Billy, and there's like a little subtitle under Little Billy. He's the baby. Well, it shows the student, the girl in question, and it says under her, hates social distance. She says, quote, I'm not really quarantining though. I've gone out multiple times. They all kind of laugh about it. And then the camera operator, I think it was probably the mom, it seems like, asks, what if you get everyone sick? And she shrugged and said, it's God's will, I guess. So then they all have a big laugh about it. So I've learned a lot today. I think I've learned that God's whatever you want God to be, you know? And if you want to be selfish and have fun with your friends because you don't care if it gets a bunch of people sick and people die because you wanted to go hang out at a Walmart, that's just God's will. That's just what God wanted. But if you get a bad grade on a paper, that's not God's will. That's because a demon did it. And that's the real breaking news. News is broken. All of news has been broken. They've been warning us for years. They keep saying breaking news, and we thought they meant something. It's the news is breaking. Get it? Is that funny? Anyway, remember to hype, share, watch the video twice, maybe 4 times, however many times you want. In the comments, let me know, what would you have given her essay? Are demons real? Is there a paper you want me to respond to? Tune in next week when an astronomy professor grades a flat earther a 0. What? That's crazy. That's bias.
The limit does not exist.
Anyway, breaking news.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I kind of feel like I could say this with authority since I have a degree from both a conservative evangelical Christian university in Oklahoma and a state school in Oklahoma. Even at this evangelical Christian university, you can't just say, I believe, and you get an A. You could have a hot take on whatever theological position you want under the sun. You have to cite a source. Fast forwarding to what's happening at the University of Oklahoma. What I think is happening is that a certain organization with right-wing views of the world colluded with a student because that student had a TA that's transgender. This was all orchestrated to make a big hullabaloo. It all just seems sus. It's all about rage bait. It's all about clicks. It's all about that headline. It doesn't matter what the details are. And there's only one remedy to it. It's just ignoring it altogether, which is the hardest thing to do. Not clicking, not talking about it, not sharing about it, not doing whatever this is. Also, hit that like button because we're adding to the mess. But here we are, and we watch and we engage and we get comments. Because in 2 weeks, we're not going to be talking about Oklahoma anymore. We're going to be off to the next shiny thing. Jesus talked about certain things. He didn't talk about everything. Feeding the hungry, housing people who are homeless, taking care of vulnerable population groups, welcoming foreigners. If you're going to call yourself one of his followers, you're going to be known by those 4 markers. But all the time, these people who have embraced this white Christian nationalism as their watchword and song, and they don't do any of that. It's all the bells and whistles of Christianity, but none of the actual substance. And it creates this very weird, like, God and country theology, which is just, it's hollow at its core, that they're hoping that people don't see it. And then I'm sitting over here like, the emperor's got no clothes on. I'm livid. I'm here.
This will be fun content. No one will care about in a week. Better pump it up fast.
But we had fun doing it.
Did we? This is the audio quality of our podcast.
It's just unlistenable.
Yeah, it's fucking garbage.
Pepper.
Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun.
Made out with a hot dog. Oh my God, that was one time.
Hold her up. I'm gonna do another take. One more take. You like being my green screen bitch?
I did shoulders at the gym today. This is why I'm gonna lose my hearing.
What?
Ass shit.